I've picked up one of these Nescafé Alegria coffee machines. Now, it's more than likely that you won't have seen one of these around anywhere, and that's why I've reviewed it. The reason you won't have seen one is because it's aimed at the office market. This model is the A510, and it's available from office supply companies, but you won't see it in your normal high street stores. Now, they're calling this particular coffee machine the Office Barista, which is a very confident claim, so let's see how it stacks up to that. The weird thing about this one is it uses this micro grind coffee. You'll have seen this kind of stuff before, first off probably in the Starbucks range, and also there's other people doing it as well. And the idea of the micro grind coffee is that it's got a little bit of real ground beans in, together with some instant coffee. So here it is out of the box. It's a rather tall, thin and narrow coffee machine, but not unattractive. But it does remind me very much of something. I don't know if it reminds you of this as well, and that's the Sentry robots out of the Portal games. The family resemblance is rather uncanny, so let's hope this thing doesn't try and shoot me. Now, we'll just have a look at the instruction booklet first. It's rather thick, but there's a load of different languages in there. All you really need to pay attention to is about sort of 6 or 8 pages in the middle here. We'll start off with this bit first, which is the usual thing where you have to clean them out when you first get them. So there's the water container. Fill that up with water, obviously, out of the tap, pop it on the back, and then we've got to plug the device in and just flush it through a few times with a bit of boiling water just to clear it out. So we'll just get that up and running. There's a switch on the side here which you've got to turn it on with and also turn it off. It does go into some sort of standby thing, but I'd rather turn it off properly once I finish using it. So we're just flushing it through now. Let's fill it up with this coffee stuff. Now, this is what it uses. It uses these sort of weird tubes, a bit like a Pringles tube. You have to peel the top off. You get this kind of chrome thing on the top here, this foil, which you then pierce by using the spike inside this plastic container in the lid. So we'll just tip it up on that, push it on it, and then there you go, it's all going inside. It's all supposed to be sort of airtight and to stop the coffee from going off and things, although instant coffee, I don't know how quick it does go off. Although of course it's not instant, it's this rather special coffee that they're using. I shouldn't really call it instant. Right, we'll put the lid back on there, close it up, and let's get going. Let's try and make something. Now, here's the different things that you can make all lit up around the dial here, and those refer to these things there. As you can see, espressos in 2 different sizes, Americano, Cappuccino, and Latte Macchiato. So let's press an Americano first of all, tap the button, put a cup under, and then press the middle button to start pouring. And it does a bit of sort of whirring and clicking and things, and what it's doing is it's putting the sort of coffee into a bit behind that grid there where it mixes it up and then blasts water through it to make it sort of more frothy. As you can see here, it's filling the cup up gradually there, and then it's topping it off with a bit of water at the end there because this is an Americano, of course. And let's give it the taste test. You know what, it tastes pretty much like instant coffee, that. Let's try something else. Let's try a latte macchiato. So here we go. We've got to get this little plastic cup which comes with it. Now there's 2 lines on here, one on that side, one on the other. The higher of the 2, the further up, the one with more volume, that's for the latte macchiato. So we've got to put some milk into there. Any milk will do apparently. Tip the milk into the cup you're going to use. Put the cup underneath. Choose the latte macchiato. Press the center button to start it off. Now this is the bit where it's a little bit weird. Notice on the right there we've got a very hot jet of water flying into that milk to froth it up as well as sort of heat it up, and then it drops an espresso on the top of it. Now if you might be thinking, alright, so if you've got milk and you're firing hot water into it, won't that make it a bit kind of watery? Well, I suppose there's only one way to find out, so let's have another cup of coffee. And you know what, you were right. Yeah, it's kind of watery, instant cappuccino. Alright, let's try an espresso. Let's go for the lungo. I'll put my glass underneath here, which I normally use with my other espresso machine, and we'll try one of those. So we'll let that fill up and just move forward a bit in time here. And it's still going, and it's going and going and going. And I'm afraid the lungo is rather lungo. It's not very shorto. So I think we'll start that again, but this time I'll pick the standard espresso and I'll be quiet as well so you can hear what kind of noises the machine makes. So as you can hear, this is a rather noisy coffee machine. I don't know if that level of noise would be suitable for most offices, and I don't know if this level of espresso would be suitable for most people, and it's rather bitter and nasty as well. However, you can clean the machine quite easily. It does come apart. This bit of plastic comes off here, and then there's this kind of mixing unit here which comes out, but there's never any coffee granules or grinds or sediment or any of that business. You just need to rinse them under a tap. You can also take out this bit on the top here if you want and clean that out. Now the drip tray can be put at 2 different heights, but even at its lowest setting it doesn't have an awful lot of room for a cup. This cup that I was using with my previous coffee machine doesn't fit in there at all, whereas in my Tassimo it just about fits under the nozzle if I tilt it as I put it in. But the Tassimo does let you take out the drip tray entirely, and then you can put in really tall glasses, and you've got absolutely no chance whatsoever of getting anything like that into this machine. The water container isn't the best design ever. You have to twist the machine around to get to it, but then when you twist the machine back with its rubber feet and things, it bounces around and all the water comes out whatever you do. It's pretty much impossible to fill a machine up and put it back without creating a big puddle everywhere, which wouldn't be a brilliant idea inside an office. But you will also be filling that up rather quickly, because that water container that comes with the one that I've got, this A510 model, just has enough water to fill up 2 of these mugs. Now that's 0.8 litres in size. It just has enough left maybe for a couple of espressos, but that's not really very much at all. You can get a larger water tank which is 2 litres, and you can attach that to the back of it and it creates this kind of sort of hump on it there, but it's just something to bear in mind. Another thing to think about if you're using this in an office is that you'll need somewhere to store cold milk, and you'll also need to make sure that tiny plastic container doesn't go missing. Now, I don't know about you, but every office I've worked in, something like that would disappear within minutes. Also, do you think people will be able to understand what each button does on the coffee machine if they were just walking into an office and wanted a drink? How would they know to put the milk in the cup if they wanted to make a cappuccino, for example? And I hope everyone likes this particular flavour of coffee, because that's the only one you're going to get with this machine, so you better get used to it. And that is expensive stuff as well. Now I've seen it online about £20, but the cheapest I managed to find it anywhere, a refill, was for £12.99. Now you're thinking, well, that might be alright, depends on how many cups it makes. Well, there's the problem. It will make 120 espresso, 60 lattes, but only 40 Americanos, which is pretty much what I'm drinking, just a cup of coffee. So for a £13 refill, you get 40 Americanos, which is 35 pence a cup. Now for the Americans watching, that's about 54 cents. For the Australians, it's about 52 cents. And for the Lithuanian viewers, that's 1.52 Lithuanian litres. Now back to the UK prices. If it's 35p a cup for the Alegria, the Tassimo and the Dolce Gusto are about 24 pence a cup, and the Sensio is only 17 pence a cup. So I don't understand that. How can this pile of dust cost more than a plastic pod or a coffee bag? What's so great about this stuff that makes it so expensive? Well, let's have a look at the blurb. Well, it goes on about being a fine blend of coffee extract with finely roasted coffee. But if you look at the small print, it's only 4% coffee. So basically what we're talking about here is you've got some instant coffee, you've got a tiny bit of real coffee beans. You get your instant coffee, you find some way of grinding in those beans, like a hammer, for example. Mix it together, and there you go, and that's now worth about 100 times what it was before. I mean, this stuff's more profitable than cutting in baby formula with cocaine. So my traditional morning drink of an Americano in a mug, topped up with a single espresso, whilst tasting okay, actually, is costing me 47 pence. And it's for that reason that I can't recommend the Nescafé Alegria. The cost of these refills is so prohibitive that it's not worth buying the machine, especially not for an office. So, for the moment, thanks for watching.